Here's an example of factoring general trinomials. Here we want to factor the expression 30x squared minus 5x minus 10. With any factoring problem, you always look for a greatest common factor first. A greatest common factor between 30x squared minus 5x minus 10. You can see there's a common factor of 5 everywhere. Let's pull that out first. If I pull 5 out of 30x squared, I'll have 6x squared left. If I pull 5 out of 5x, there's negative x there in the middle. Pulling 5 out of a negative 10, I'll have a negative 2 left over. Alright, so we pulled out our greatest common factor, so inside the parentheses are 3 terms. It is a trinomial, but look at this, lead coefficient is 6. So what we're actually going to do is use a grouping method, and we need to start off with a key number. Your key number is always this first coefficient times the last coefficient. So 6 times negative 12, my key number, 6 times negative 2 is a negative 12, which is going to be my key number. Now, what you do is the same sort of puzzle that we put together for factoring trinomials that have lead coefficient 1. This time, I want two things that multiply together that give me negative 12 and that add up to my lead coefficient of negative 1. So these two numbers, if they multiply together to give me a negative 12, one has to be negative and the other one has to be positive. So make the first one negative, second one positive. Factors of negative 12 that add up to negative 1. Don't want to use 12 and 1. Don't want to use 6 and 2. The difference there is 4. Let's use the 4 and the 3. Got to make the 4 negative, the 3 positive, so that they add up to negative 1. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Alright, so what you do with those two numbers, we are going to rewrite the problem, and what you do is keep the first term the same, 6x squared, but you're going to split this middle term up into two terms using these coefficients. So it's going to be minus 4x plus 3x, and then the minus 2 will come down. Alright, that's why we went through this analysis over here, so we could split that middle term up into these two terms, and then what you do is factor by grouping from here on out inside the parentheses. And if you see, I'm keeping this 5 with the problem in each step because it's going to be part of my answer in the end. So I'm just going to keep it out there so we don't forget about it. Alright, so looking at just these first two terms, I can pull out a 2x. 2x is common in just the first two terms, so let's do that with a little set of parentheses here. If I pull 2x out of 6x squared, that leaves me with 3x. If I pull 2x out of negative 4x, that leaves me with a negative 2. Close your parentheses. All I did was factor out a greatest common factor between those first two terms. My middle sign is plus. If you look at these last two terms, there's absolutely nothing common that can pull out. So let's just put them in parentheses, the 3x minus 2, so we can see our grouping. Alright, here's a 3x minus 2, and here's a 3x minus 2. So we must be doing it, right? Okay, my 5 stays out as part of my answer. Those 3x minus 2's, let's pull that out. 3x minus 2. Now watch what's left. See, my 2x was out front, plus there's actually a coefficient of 1 right here. The 3x minus 2, that whole term came out front. It looks like there was nothing left, but there's actually a 1 there. So this is your final answer, that greatest common factor of 5 to begin with. And to factor this general trinomial using the grouping method with the key number, you split this middle coefficient into two terms using those coefficients, the middle term into two terms using those coefficients, and then you just do factor by grouping after that.